Being very entitled and controlling, narcissists have no difficulty stepping all over your personal boundaries. So that's why I put together an extensive video class called This Is Me. It has 25 videos, written documents, guided questions. I'm going to teach you how to have healthy boundaries. There's a link below, and I hope you'll find it to be quite therapeutic. Throughout my 40 years in the counseling office, I was so privileged to be able to help other individuals figure out how they could find balance in their relationships and in their emotional well-being. But sometimes, as I would do so, it became very obvious that these individuals, when they would go away from the office, would get back in contact with the individuals who were helping create and perpetuate the problems. And it could be the person they live with, or someone in their extended family, or it may be a social group, or a system that they were involved in with organizations, or the work setting. They would go back there, and the individuals that would be in front of them would bring so many dysfunctional tendencies that they would regress, and they would not be able to apply some of the insights that we were talking about in the counseling office. So many times when you are in the presence of someone who's grossly narcissistic and unhealthy, their need for control, their selfishness, their condescension, that you fail to develop fully your own better alternatives. These individuals can cause you to lose sight of where you want to go, and as long as you continue to stay in their presence, they can keep pulling you down into the ditch where they reside. So what I want to do is I want to talk with you about how to know when you need to change your externals. Sometimes, as you're trying to be that better person from the inside out, you need to know when to draw a relationship with a narcissist or a narcissistic system to an end. So I'm going to give you 8 indicators that will tell us it's time. You need to examine what's going on inside of you. You need to be in a different set of circumstances. And by the way, as I give you the 8, know I'm going to give you one bonus at the end of it, okay? The first indicator, number 1, that says you need to bring a relationship to an end is that you wind up losing sight of who you want to be. One of the questions that I would like to ask people is if I could get you to list out the characteristics that you'd like to have most predominant in your personality, they'd come up with a real good list. Well, I want to be patient or understanding or kind or firm, and I want to have a sense of well-being. And as they would talk about who they want to be and what their definition of self would be, then we would think, yeah, and in what circumstances are you least inclined to be that person? And there would be so many individuals who would work against that. When you're around someone who's constantly pushing against your good goals, it's a reminder that says this is someone who's not good for me. It's bringing out the worst. I need to get into a different set of circumstances. A second indicator that says you probably need to bring that relationship to a close is that you find yourself going back to agitation and frustration with those individuals. There's some individuals who themselves are either very angry or they have a knack for creating anger in you, and you wind up having this edginess and irritability about yourself, and it's like, I don't want to be that person, and yet they keep coming at you with all sorts of reasons for you to feel that way, and you're over there thinking, what's the deal with you? Or, I hate being treated the way that I'm being treated. And when you find that the initiatives that they're giving to you just continue to perpetuate that tension and frustration, again, it's an indicator that says this is unhealthy and I need to get away from that. A third indicator that says you probably need to get away from someone is that you can find yourself having a general pessimism that has crept in even when those people are not around. You can have been so beaten down and so criticized or second-guessed that when you're around other individuals, you can have a bad mood. There might be people who will say, are you okay? Or you just don't seem like yourself. And you're over there thinking, well, I am in a bad mood, and I'm kind of wondering who's going to be the next person in my world that's going to give me the garbage that I don't want, that these people over here are giving to me. And when you notice that your mood is just pulled down in a general sense, that says you're in an environment that is not healthy for you. A fourth indicator is that you can find yourself in an overall defensive posture toward individuals. Because narcissists have such a need for control and they're so condescending in the way that they do it, you're constantly wondering, well, do I have to justify myself and defend? And so you can put a shield around yourself. I don't want them to know who I am. I don't want them to know my business because it never does end well. And so your walls go up and you're not sure if anybody's going to believe you. And then that defensiveness, it goes with you with other individuals. You're not meant to live in a defensive posture. And so when you're with individuals who are so offensive, that's another signal that says this is not a relationship you need to stay with. A fifth indicator that might indicate that might show that you need to move on is that you eventually just pull back on your natural healthy initiatives. There might be groups that you want to join with, or there might be some friends that you like to spend more time with. It just creates more problems, or I just don't feel like it, or there might be activities that you enjoy, and I don't feel like doing that. And you find yourself wanting to have certain pursuits, but you feel so deflated, or you just are in a bad mood, or there's just maybe you're isolated because of those narcissists, that you just kind of have this sense that says, well, when I'm in the public, I just feel like I'm acting and I'm not allowed to be myself. And as a result, you wind up stifling the healthy initiatives that would come from the inside of you. Does that sound very familiar to you? Now, a sixth indicator that says you need to move on is that you may have a general inclination towards suppressing your real needs and feelings and preferences. Narcissists can be so overbearing, and they remind you over and over, we call this gaslighting, by the way, that you don't know what you're talking about, or you come up with wrong conclusions, that you can carry some of that, the doubt that generates, you can carry that with other individuals. And it's like, well, I don't even want to speak up anymore. I don't want to say anything because it's probably going to be wrong anyway. And so you can have this notion that says, I just feel so spent. I don't even want to extend any kind of energy where I might be reminded, just like that narcissist does, that I'm just not a right kind of person. A seventh indicator, and this is one that's just kind of undergirds everything that I'm saying, is your self-esteem has faltered. One of the things that I believe is each person deserves to be respected, and each person deserves to be reminded that you are an individual who has value and worth. But the narcissist is so transactional and they're so competitive. It's like, look, you just do what I tell you to do. We're going to be fine. And I have to be up. You're going to be down. You get that message over and over and over that you don't measure up, or you're not making the grade system, that it can wear you down in the self-esteem category. It's like, well, maybe I'm not any good. Maybe I am defective. Maybe I am the problem. And when that's an ongoing kind of situation, it's like, I need to get away from people who reinforce that kind of thinking. And then an eighth indicator that says that you need to get away from a relationship. And that is, you can find yourself gravitating towards self-sabotaging behavior. There can be times when you can feel rebellious. There can be times when you feel like, I don't even care anymore what happens. And it may be that you'll go into addictions, or maybe you'll develop irresponsible lifestyle habits, or you'll start hanging out with the wrong people who bring out the worst. And you can seek consolation from the wrong people. And as a result, you wind up being more and more drawn into patterns of life that are just simply not good for you. So you can see that you can have this willingness to take care of all the internals that you have, but if the externals are working against you and these patterns continue to persist, one of the things that might be necessary is for you to say, I need to get into a different pattern. Now, I mentioned there's one other indicator that we might want to watch for that says it's time for you to move on, and that is, I'm hoping you can have a sense of resolve. That would be an indicator that says, I am at a place where I don't need to be in this kind of situation anymore. I deserve better. I'm going to live better, and I want to make something good of my life. So let's pick up on that indicator and see where that might lead you towards. For example, you can think to yourself, well, that narcissist wants to be in control of me. Well, I'm resolved that I'm going to live as a free person, and I'm going to come up with my own well-conceived ideas about who I am. The narcissist may want to discount your choices, but I'm not in the self-discounting kind of position. I'm going to listen to who I am and what I say, and I'm going to go ahead and give credibility to my preferences and my interpretations. The narcissist doesn't esteem you, but you can resolve to say, but I esteem myself. And I want to position myself so that I can be in a place where the best can come from me. The narcissist may be defined by anger. And you can have a sense that says, well, I'm resolved to allow myself to feel anger whenever it's there, but it's not going to be a defining thing. And when I have my anger, I'm going to manage it in a clean kind of way. The narcissist has little need to show you respect. I'm hoping you can say, well, I'm resolved to be self-respecting. It makes sense. I deserve to be respected. And it's not a right. It's just common sense. It's a responsibility, if you will, to live in your own respect for yourself. Take care of who you are. The narcissist has an inclination to speak in condescending ways. I'm hoping you can say, well, I'm resolved to be in relationships that are egalitarian, equal to equal, one person affirming the other individual as having value and worth. The narcissist is divisive. I'm hoping you can say, well, I'm now resolved to be a harmonizer. I'm going to be with individuals who know and appreciate the value of living into that kind of characteristic. The narcissist constantly gripes and criticizes. I hope you can say, I'm resolved to be an encourager, and I want to be in the presence of individuals who can find the things that are right and best and good. So I'm hoping as you determine, I want to have my internals correct, but then when you realize, but I have externals that need to be adjusted and I need to move away, I'm hoping that sense of resolve can cause you to say, it's worth the effort for me to lean into the choices that are going to take me into a much better place. The narcissist is not someone who's going to set my pace. I need to set my own pace, and if it means that I have to do it separate from them, I'm ready. Now, I hope videos such as this can give you some good resolve, some good insight with respect to where you're going. If you haven't already hit that subscribe button, I would encourage you to do so. The reason I put these out is so that I can help you with your educational process. So please go ahead and hit that subscribe button. We're going to keep more coming your direction. Sometimes when you're in a situation like this, you could use some therapeutic assistance, and that's where people like me come in. I'm retired now, but I'm sponsored by the people at BetterHelp.com. There's a whole team of licensed professional therapists that would be there and ready to assist you. And I've received good feedback from individuals who have said, I finally found someone who can help me sift this out and break down some of the what's and wherefores with respect to my adjustments. Please, as the need is there, go beneath the link. We have a link there that will take you to their website and get the assistance that you need. Likewise, I have courses that I put together, and they're very extensive. It's like signing up for an online class. It'll take you a while to work it through, but I hope it'll be worth it. Each course has at least 25 videos with written documentation per video and guided questions. Ready, set, connect about having good connections. This is me establishing your boundaries. Free to be finding yourself despite those controllers. I also have my webinars that I presented that have been very popular in that kind of format. It's a very different kind of style. It's all on my website, as well as articles and access to our podcast, and then my books. So plenty of resources. Narcissists are people out there in your world that just don't need to have the influence, and if they just persist in bringing you down, then at times it's nice for you. It's necessary for you to say, I need to move away. And if you can't physically get away completely, then emotionally you can unhook and be on your path towards self-discovery. I so believe in the necessity of that. So as that's the case, I'm hoping it allows you to have optimism that you can find steadiness, and ultimately you can be the person of peace that you're designed to be.